shall we talk about one of the philosophical underpinnings of the Brexit quarrel that's sort of bubbling away in the background? Britain, England, has been a monarchy for a very long time. We tend to date the kings of England starting from Alfred the Great. And Alfred the Great died in the year 899. So that's more than 11 centuries ago. The first king of England, he started off as king of Wessex, and he sort of conquered or made treaties with significant amounts of the rest of England outside of Wessex. He didn't conquer the whole thing, not exactly. It's complicated, but he was the first king of something that you could reasonably call England, and that was in fact called England. And he died in 899. It's been 951 years, not 50 anymore, 951 years, since the Battle of Hastings in 1066, which we like to talk about as the last time that England was forcibly conquered. That's untrue, but we like to tell ourselves that. That's a part of our national myth, is that's the last time we were conquered, because the time that William of Orange did it doesn't count, because he was invited by Parliament and it doesn't count, okay? It just doesn't. The last time we were conquered was in 1066. Since then, there have been a lot of internal arguments about who was going to be king, but that was the last time we were conquered and became sort of annexed to someone else's kingdom. So we have a long history of monarchy, and one of the ways to think about that long history is as a very gradual, over centuries, transfer of power and the right to hold power away from the monarch to their council or their governing committee, or as you might call it, a parliament. Parliament gets all its power, philosophically, originally from the crown. So, philosophically, originally, back in 1066, the crown held the power by right and granted some of these powers to Parliament, except British law's always been a little... well, English law, sorry, keep doing that, has always been a little more complicated than that, and before we had a monarchy that held everything, we had the hundreds in the shires who... there were traditional rights that were not vested in the crown, they were vested in the community. And there were formal ways of exercising those rights and judging those rights. And they didn't belong to the crown in the first place, so they weren't something handed back. And some of those went into making up what became Parliament, and some things were handed down from the crown. You look after this! And we ended up very quickly with this joint system where Parliament existed almost as a balancing power to the crown. The crown couldn't do everything. The crown, for instance, could only tax certain classes of people in certain ways without Parliament to do it for them, which is why Parliament had a tendency to get summoned when the king wanted to go to war, because he couldn't fund it unless Parliament passed a tax. That remit grew a lot. Power got taken off the crown in various ways. Magna Carta transferred power to the barons. Well, it took power off the crown. It stripped the crown of certain legal rights and made them subject to certain laws. The barons, of course, haven't gone away. They're the House of Lords. The House of Commons has also risen in importance. Till now, the House of Commons puts up the government, and the government rules the country, and they have a couple of lords in there. But the House of Lords is the second chamber. It approves the legislation, it amends the legislation. For the most part, it doesn't propose it. It's the second chamber. The Commons runs things. The King, or the Queen, doesn't anymore. That's what's been causing the Brexit. Well, that's not been causing. What's been causing it is protectionism, xenophobia and racism. But one of the things that's been going on that's giving the government grief now that the Brexit has been voted on by the people is the question of parliamentary sovereignty. That's what the court case was about. Sovereignty does not vest in the monarch of England. Sovereignty vests in Parliament. There is no one individual who is sovereign. We are not an autocracy. We are a parliamentary democracy with a king or a queen and bishops of a state church who hold by right certain seats in our governing parliament, which is sovereign. So we're kind of a theocracy as well. But don't look at that, don't worry about that. It's not really interesting to Brexit. The government can't do everything because the government isn't sovereign. Parliament is sovereign. One of the arguments that is going on in the background is how much of that sovereignty, that right to make the decisions, how much of that has been delegated to the government and how much still sits with the Commons and the Lords.